So, what is the deal with Bong and his big ass nail?
Hey, what up? It's Pat the Flip. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want, give me some money on Patreon or Twitch so I can keep on making cool shit. Peace.
Hey, what's good, everybody? It is Thursday night, and it's time for some games with B, baby. We're gonna play BlazBlue Calamity Trigger today, the original BlazBlue. That's what's up. What up, Isengard? Welcome to the stream. Tasty John, so good to see you. As a reminder, Rowman is chilling out for a while, I believe. I would not expect to see him in the stream, so y'all be on your best behavior. Don't let me.
I've got mod version open.
Okay, cool. Irene is on deck and ready to mod anyone who acts even the slightest amount of disrespect. She's keeping y'all on notice. That's what's up. But yeah, we're going to play some more BlazBlue. So last week on Games with B, we played BlazBlue Central Fiction, which was the most recent one that wasn't a tag game. Now we're gonna run it all the way back to the original so we can kind of get a sense of how the game grew over time. And we're going to start with calling her. She's up. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm doing great.
Hell yeah.
How are you?
Doing all right. Back at work this week. I took all of last week off, so just fucking chilling, and now I'm like back in the swing of things.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How was your break? Did you enjoy it?
I did, though I often feel like all the fighting game stuff I do outside of work ends up being another job. And honestly, I'd really rather do that job than the job that pays me the money. So, you know, it's just one of those things, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes those who live creative lives often, instead of having fun, have two jobs.
Yeah.
Or three or four.
Yes. That is
I really feel this.
Yeah, that is absolutely how that shit works. When you are too successful monetizing the side hustle, then it becomes the second shift and you work your 12-hour or 16-hour days or whatever. That's where we're at. But you know what? If I have to live a life where I'm going to feel like I'm working two jobs for a while, at least they all involve fighting games. It's definitely not the worst thing. But today we're going to be playing some BlazBlue. Last week we played BlazBlue Central Fiction, which was the most recent BlazBlue that wasn't cross tag. And actually afterwards, the homie Adapt hit me up and suggested that we actually give the first BlazBlue a shot because in his words, it's very different than the last two iterations. They had a lot of hit stop on like everything to adjust for bad netcode and as their answer for how to draw new players in. Part of me wonders if it actually feels somewhat like what Strive does, because it felt like it really was their how do we draw new players in game. And that's interesting to me. That particularly caught my interest. One, thank you, Adapt, for the suggestion. But this caught my interest because I remember distinctly playing BlazBlue once in the arcade and immediately just not liking it. Right. And I never dug back into it. But when we were playing Central Fiction last week, I was like, I don't know how what caused me to feel that way about the first BlazBlue. Obviously, I was used to Guilty Gear XX speed and characters and stuff, and it didn't feel like that. But since I've never actually really given this game the time of day, I figured it's worth digging in to see if this, because the kind of the hypothesis that we drafted in last week's session was maybe ArcSys just does this with all their games. Right? They start a new franchise or they reboot an existing franchise and they're just like, oh, this one's going to be the easy one, guys. We promise. Wink, wink. And the first one is the easy one. And then 3 games in, it's like this nightmare of complexity, which I fucking love. Right. So yeah, we're going to give this a shot. But Aevee, was this the one that you started on?
Oh, it totally was. I think I'll reiterate what we were talking about last time. But I remember following this game before it even came out. I was like, oh, cool. They're like, I loved Guilty Gear. Like, everything about Guilty Gear was my jam. And so when I saw that they were going to do a new Guilty Gear, and I didn't know even at that time that the reason why they were doing BlazBlue in the first place was because they had lost the license to, I think specifically the every Guilty Gear character from X onward.
Yeah,
because of the deal
with Sega Sammy, right? Yeah,
with Sega Sammy. Yeah, for those who don't know, the real life lore. That's what happened, and that's why we got that's why Guilty Gear Overture can't mention Dizzy by name. So
wow.
So I was following this game before it came out. Yeah, they call her the Maiden of the Grove in it. I haven't actually played that game, but I know about this tidbit.
Wow.
That they only mention Dizzy as the Maiden of the Grove, and a relationship with Kai is implied, and that's because Sin's from that game.
Right. I was gonna say, does Sin just call her mom?
Yeah, like I don't know what I think it's something like that. Like they kind of like nod and wink about it. And then they got the license back, which is how they were able to do Exert and all of that stuff. But so they were making BlazBlue. I really liked Guilty Gear, and I wanted to check it out. So I practiced. And I tried to main Rachel. I actually met I met some guy over PlayStation who I would voice chat and was very encouraging. Actually, he was a pretty good guy. I don't know anything about this person. I have never followed up with him. But for the time that I was playing BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, he would beat my ass and encourage me to learn Rachel combos. So shout outs to whoever that person is.
You need to dig this person up someday. And just
maybe I could look up and see if I have those messages archived on my PS3 before it goes offline.
So Irene,
see where they ended up.
Irene has told me multiple times about moments in, I think it was in college, where like a friend of hers would try and get her into BlazBlue, and she's just like, nah, this stuff looks like the worst anime ever. Or she'd see a friend of hers who owned a fight stick and be like, wow, what a dork. And I told her that she needs to go back and make amends, because looking at where she is now, like,
oh my God.
All right. So let's go ahead and open up BlazBlue. I just downloaded this shit.
This is the first time that I had really tried to encounter like actual trying to play these games competitively, and like again, my experience with playing these games was mostly just fooling around with some close friends.
Right.
Didn't really have a good community.
Which is, look, that's for most people, that is going to be the best experience you ever have, right?
Right. Like this is like, it was great. And so the thing is that like this was at a time where it's actually on Mizumi off and on like pretty regularly, because I was really interested in a lot of the Dojin games that were on there, because I was interested in Dojin games like just in general.
Yeah.
They were like and so fighting games were one of them, so I was like kind of curious about what they were like. And so
oh wow, we actually don't have 1080p on this. That's what's up.
Yeah, we don't. We sure don't. So I don't think I would even have said like, oh, I fell off it because the netcode was bad.
Yeah.
It was just like a weird disorienting experience where I couldn't tell what was happening or why anything was happening.
Wait, is there even netplay on the Steam version? That might be hilarious. All right. How's your connection feeling?
Oh, I wouldn't say great.
Well, it's great for me over here. Let's try bomb. Okay. So, yeah, right off the bat, they started off with the 3D backgrounds that are pretty sick.
Oh, yeah, they did a lot of voice acting. They did English voice acting for a lot of these. There. I won't.
I pressed one button. Oh, okay. Is this button down? Oh, I probably did not set my buttons for second player side. Yeah.
I don't remember this. The bar right underneath the health bar, is that like a guard bar or something? It's
the barrier bar, or the tug of war meter in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It must. Yeah, I think it must be like a guard
So, what is the deal with Bong and his big ass nail?
He doesn't even attack with it.
Yeah, it is profoundly disappointing that he doesn't attack with it. I do think it's interesting that, like, I don't know, between the seals thing that's moving me around, kind of like answer scrolls, and the Rachel stuff that we talked about a little bit last week. Like, yeah. It's interesting that they seem to dig, like, putting things on the screen to interact with, right?
I didn't even think about this, but he's way more like Answer than
than Chip.
Than Chip, yeah, for sure. I mean, he preceded Answer for sure. Yeah. So. Mail of Pain.
This is
definitely... my god, classics of dubbing.
This is pretty fun.
Yeah,
right
I think
here.
they only gave Rachel. Rachel might only have one super in this one.
Mm. Oh god.
Which is that one.
Just that one, huh? That's it? You got no other supers you're trying to tell me about?
Hey, it's really strong. Rachel was like one of the best characters in this game.
Woo! Okay. Double down. Oh, we got double KO with 1 second left. All right. Aether Beat is telling us that the bar in the middle is like a guard crush. It's like a tug of war guard crush. That's interesting.
I was thinking it had to be. I think one thing I definitely am gonna have is a really good excuse for any time I lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh.
Oh god.
Oh wow, I can go for a sweep into like a full like OTG combo with the launcher and everything. Oh.
I remember really loving how her tiny, pretentious voice.
Wait, so when you first played this game, did you play it the dubbed version?
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, I remember playing quite a lot of this game in the dubbed version. I'm not sure why, because I would have usually like preferred subtitles, but the dub's actually pretty good, I think, as these things go.
Wow, this is new, right?
Yeah, this character probably had a big redesign before she was finished for the game. Because like look at her. Okay, this is the character who she looks like in the art.
Yeah.
And then
there we go.
there we go.
Yeah.
I remember being like looking at her art and being like, that character looks cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And then seeing what she looks like in game and was like, I'm not as into that actually.
Sure. Whatever, graffiti. And yeah, Mainare, we were playing one, we miss you at our Guilty Gear tournaments, which we wish we could get you back in the mix. Two, we were playing some Central Fiction last week, and this series only got 4 iterations, right? There's a lot of characters coming out between those 4 iterations.
I mean, there are 4 iterations, but then it's like console version. There is like Chronophasma Extend, like and like there's a lot of like I think there are a lot of sub iterations in between.
Yeah.
Gosh, did she just say you should be ashamed? Pretty raw, Rachel.
It's kind of funny to me how like Guilty Gear is out there in terms of like character design and aesthetic, but like I don't know, something about the way that like New is just attacking with like weird, vaguely technological energy, you know? Like I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know how they like Arxis in general decides to design their characters, but like they really kind of, even though they like created this super long convoluted story, if you looked at the character select screen, and they had to have like made the story around the characters rather than the other way around, because some of them are like they're like fit in, but they're like okay, we want a puppet character, we want a character that does this, we want like a character that does that. Like
Hey. Wow, does Hakumen just not have Gatlings?
yeah, he does not have a ground dash. He only has an air dash.
Oh, no ground dash, but like I can't chain buttons, right?
Oh, he might have like weird. I think he has to do like special move combos in order to.
Oh, interesting. Got it, but he doesn't have just like an ABC chain. That's interesting. I have to wonder if this is like, oh, we're gonna make a Sam show. Like, if this is their Nagoriyuki, right?
Yeah,
like, we're gonna make a Sam show character for the people who don't want to learn combos.
People have said like that Nagoriyuki is absolutely Hakumen to a T.
Interesting.
Like he's got some sin mechanics to him, but he's definitely like fundamentally.
Oh, my meter's going off.
Hakumen.
Ooh, damn! I just got fucking dunked by that puppet. Okay.
God. Oh my god.
That damage.
You do so much damage. How do I do her?
Oh wow.
How do I do her fireball? God, how do I do her fireball?
I'll give you a sec to figure it out. Meanwhile, mine, whatever that meter is I've got at the bottom, just keeps on going up.
Oh yeah, you auto-generate meter.
That's handy.
And you have like 8 stocks of it, because like he needs meter to do like a lot of his basic stuff. So.
I see. And he's like a counter character, right?
Yeah, his like his D button is just a dedicated counter. That's that thing there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going in strong.
Going in strong. And it's like high to low, kind of like Vikings or whatever.
That looks tight.
Yeah, he is very stylish.
Please select your character.
Yeah,
right.
he's the.
I realized I never played Ragna when we were playing Central Fiction, so I'll give him a shot now. But I can definitely see just from the like this early, you know, just like the pace, in these early games, like, yeah, there's a speed to it that wouldn't make this feel like a Street Fighter game or something like this, but it definitely doesn't feel like there's as much going on as like Guilty Gear. I think XX/ I want to say is probably where we were at.
Yeah,
right?
definitely not. Like. You can see how, like, at the beginning it was kind of like, okay, it's that the characters are going to be really unique and have weird drive button moves, and that's going to be where the game's complexity kind of comes from.
Yeah. Oh!
You're inhuman.
Oh. No, those attack animations are like, they look great. They're
This
super
is why,
like expressive
my friend
and cute.
really loves Taukaka.
Yeah.
like, and she's got this like kind of like dash attack move that's really crazy.
Yeah. Boom.
She's got a really good design.
Move it. Hurt. Oh. That's an interesting 6C. The foot stab and the up swipe.
Whoa.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's very like. I mean, you could tell this guy is.
I have.
Taukaka is very like. She feels really Darkstalkers.
Mm-hmm. I have to wonder if like
her panties going everywhere.
Wow, they sure are. I have to wonder if Ragna being like Soul looks like a dad from like day one of Guilty Gear, right? Like part of it is the build, part of it is the hair. He's just kind of he's like he's got that like that take no shit dad swag, right? Ragna seems very much like the chuny boy that would be trendy in like the mid-aughts, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like again, like BlazBlue, I feel like is really as generic. I've always called it like light novel core because it feels too generic to call anime.
Mm-hmm. I think it is probably incredibly valuable to them to include like basically like I don't know. I'm getting kind of just like sad girl vibes from this one. Hot nerd vibes from this one. Lol so random vibes from the, you know, like I feel like every single character on this screen could probably be cross-referenced with like a live journal.
Right. It's very like they're a lot more like somebody's OC.
Yes.
Than they are like that's clearly based off of some character.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the lag, I can't even tell which one I am from the button presses.
There you go. Yeah, I guess you know what it is, and I think I forget if we've talked about this on stream, but like when you are working on a fighting game where the characters come from outside a fighting game, then what you get is a chance to like explore those characters in a different setting, right? Like the Sailor Moon fighting game opens with that cutscene that's like, oh man, we just defeated the big bad. You know what we should do now? We should have a tournament to see who's the strongest among us, right? Like, you know, just us girls, like that's what we're gonna get up to, right? And when you design characters for a fighting game, you don't necessarily have like the narrative constraints of another medium. And so it's this weird environment, right? Where you're like, okay, the defining aspect of this character is how they fight. That's not usually where you start, right?
Mm.
Yeah, Yuzu Yiha saying these characters are definitely off-brand Dengeki Bunko.
Right, because they feel very like, I mean, again, they're literally off-brand Guilty Gear characters.
Yeah.
Like, so, but they definitely didn't, for whatever reason, have like they're I'd be really curious to know like what the design pipeline was for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're gameplay wise, they're actually quite imaginative. You know? Like,
yeah, they got some sauce to them.
Like, even if their designs to me don't like really strike me as,
Keygen waifus. That's a good way to describe it. Woo.
They're right about the hit stop, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely chunk. And which is funny because Guilty Gear actually usually doesn't go that heavy on it. Like they've got some hits, like the 6Hs usually have real big impact, or like Fafnir, that kind of stuff. But a lot of the actual blade attacks, for instance, they go pretty fast.
They're actually kind of sticky, I would almost call them.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh my god.
Woo. We playing Melty real quick, just nothing but 2As.
Oh my god, this is very hard.
Alright. Well, your sacrifice is appreciated. We can switch up the hosting in a minute so I can see what it's like. I actually am interested to see how this plays. Shatter. All right, what's Tager's command grab? Is it 360?
360 or something? Yeah.
I've never really had to do 360s on a fucking hitbox before. All right, 360A. Okay. Oh.
Oh yeah, and he's also got like a...
Woo.
He has this special projectile that you do by... Oh yeah, he magnetizes.
Yeah.
That's his drive button.
Oh. Yeah, we took inspiration from some of his magnetic stuff for Talos on Rising Thunder.
You're kidding. Oh yeah, that's right. There was no curse meter in this game. You just got cursed immediately.
Oh shit.
If he hit you once, you got cursed. I totally forgot that.
Mm. Wow, so as soon as I'm cursed, it's just shit flying all over the place, huh?
Yeah, it's just...
Oh. Oh, I made a mistake. Later, Graffiti.
Oh my god, ow. Oh my god, ouch. Oh my god, oh. Alright.
I feel very intelligent right now.
That's definitely what Aragune deserves.
Freeze.
I think if I was hitting the button like fast enough, I could
You can mash out, maybe.
probably break out of it
Oh,
quicker,
yeah.
but
It's
but
Adapt
that's
saying it needs to be mashed
impossible
out.
with this
Yeah.
lag.
But man, Arakune's animations are amazing.
Yeah, he looks great. Like, he's really cool. He did math so hard he became a monster.
What?
Yeah,
He could turn invisible? That's cool as fuck.
Yeah, you really would have liked this character, especially maybe in this iteration.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Character not floating is
Please select your character.
real difficult.
I like characters that turn invisible. Someone was asking me the other day how I felt about unblockables in fighting games, like high low on the same frame unblockables, and I was like, I think that shit's tight. They're like, wow, really? I think because they probably think of me as more of like a a Street Fighter fundamental specialist or whatever. I'm like, look, I play a ninja that can turn invisible, I play Zero, who can hit you with mix-ups where I don't fucking know what side that's gonna hit on, right? Like, you think I give a shit if a high-low is unblockable? Of course a high-low is supposed to be unblockable. How are you gonna block high and low at the same time? Damn, you just kicked my sister in the fucking face? But yeah, entering tournaments with your friends is instantly more fun. If you enter a tournament on your own, then you're probably just going to be salty on your own. But the moment you enter with a friend, it's, oh, you got someone to watch, you got someone to cheer for, you got someone to be like, oh, it's okay, we'll get him next time. And you always have someone to play casuals with if it's downtime, you know? If you are looking for an excuse to enter a tournament, if you want some encouragement, the easiest thing to do is just ask a friend who also doesn't know shit about that game to enter with you. That's all you got to do. It's a fun time. God, Rachel's animations are so good. Oh yeah, that's great. Hey.
So like Hakumen can basically forward dash by using a special move.
Okay.
That's kind of how he does it. Yeah, it's like this quarter circle forward A.
Oh.
And he combos these moves into each other. So that's kind of like, so again, like Hakumen is like, oh, this is how we make characters accessible, right?
Right.
We've got a big buttons, Samurai Showdown. He's got like,
and like if combos are a metered resource, then it's gonna take you a while to learn to use them anyway.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I instantly feel cool when I can set these up and then blow you into them.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's her whole.
that's yeah. That feels fucking sick. And I mean, it's you have to be able to do a fireball. You have to be able to do down. That's pretty much it. That's cool.
Yeah, she is actually not that like her combos are a little difficult, but like I was like really.
Dull.
I was really a beginner when I was playing this. Like, not that I'm still not.
Right, but like I mean, just in the last what 4 months or whatever that we've been doing this, like you've picked up a different fighting game once a week, right?
Yeah, I have been leveling. I have been leveling up. I'm feel like I'm playing Baiken now.
Uh-huh.
It feels fucking great.
Cool.
Like I fall more and more in love with Baiken every day, which I know will hurt the feeling of so many people. but God, I love her. Oh my God. Okay, this is untenable. All right, there we go.
That's right. Come stream games with Patrick Miller. Well, he'll give you the bad controller, put you on the laggy fucking remote play side, and then zone you out with Rachel Alucard.
Oh my God, I love her mouth with 10 million teeth.
Yeah.
She's like a really she is one of the most Darkstalkers characters I've ever seen in a game that's not called Darkstalker.
Wow, that did absolutely no damage.
Yeah, she does jack shit. While I was trying to, it was like really hard for me to fight you when you were playing Ragna. I want you to know that, because I did nothing to you.
Wait, I need to see that bang run again. Wow.
Look at that.
It's not just a ninja run, it's a ninja dab run.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, that's true. He's dabbing the entire time.
He's just holding the dab. I love that he's like he reads as like super corny hero.
Yeah, that's it. That was his whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hence the theme song and everything, right?
Chat, please tell me what's the command for bang install.
Yeah, how do we get the bang install on? Can you really be a tokusatsu hero if you don't have your face covered, though? That seems like a necessary part of the design or the archetype.
Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time, but chat, please let me know.
All right, it's like double core circle
Break the
forward
bone.
something IRC. It's metered, right?
Yeah, you have to have 50 meter, and you also have to get all 4 seals in this game.
Got it.
See, I almost got it with the guard point.
Well, fuck it. I want to see this. How do we get you those seals? Bong, bong, bong. All right, yeah, this shit's pretty cool.
Oh my god.
This might actually be the coolest thing I've ever seen in a fighting game.
So Dacid Bro was a bang player.
Got it.
So it was always
That
really
fucking
hype
cornball, of
whenever-
course he is.
Yeah, whenever he got activated Furin, because it would be, you know, the fact that the song is just his name over and over again.
So it is funny to me. I'll give Trash Demon a shot. It is funny to me that, like, if we look back at this as like, oh, this is ArcSys trying to do the, oh, you know, we're gonna get new fighting game players in with this one, guys. Really, yeah, it's definitely toned down compared to Guilty Gear, right? And if you think about where fighting games were in 2005, this game is from 2005, right? Quick.
No, it's actually 2009.
2000. Okay, initial release date 2008. So it's coming out at about the same time as Street Fighter 4. But with none of the like none of the understanding of what Street Fighter 4 is going to do for the genre in terms of expansion and like kind of revival, right?
Right. This was like ArcSys continuing to do what they did. It wasn't like, oh, this is saving fighting games. These are like,
right.
You know.
But it's funny to think of it as like this is what ArcSys thought of as like anyone would be able to play it. Like what were they thinking of when they were thinking of play? Because I think anyone could reasonably make some cool shit happen, right? You got Gatlings, you got stuff that looks awesome, you got some pretty basic special move inputs, but this is like, I don't know, it's less complex than a Guilty Gear, but it's still pretty fucking complex, right? At no point are they thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a Sam show. That's how we're gonna get people in the door, you know? And it makes you wonder, like, what were their lenses for new player accessibility? What did they think of when they thought of trying to get a new player into the genre, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's very interesting to even think of, like, what would that have even meant, you know? Oh my god, the cross-up on that is so hard. Holy shit.
We out here doing Shiva stomps, y'all. And yeah, so the Darrett in chat brings up a good point, which is like, he says, in some ways, I think that the accessibility lens was the light novelness of the game, right? So it's the accessibility play was really more about giving players a way to be connected to these characters. Which makes sense, right? Like what you know, even before the Street Fighter 4 conversation about like you know, simplicity is like buffers, or it's you know, more accessible kind of access to fun. Like, fighting games are about getting attached to characters, right? And it can be hard to get attached to characters without an explicit narrative, and Lord knows they went in on BlazBlue's explicit narrative.
Yeah, and in fact, it's kind of like, you can see them trying harder with subsequent BlazBlues. But you can also see that, like, or you can see them trying harder with subsequent Guilty Gears.
Yeah.
But they never really Guilty Gear wanted to be kind of like Xrd at least wanted to be a movie.
Yeah.
And I won't say I don't really think that worked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, like, just because, like, And like I could talk about like my personal taste and what I think works all day.
Yeah.
But like I definitely see that like BlazBlue had a lot of legs, and there are a lot of people who like know at least a little bit about BlazBlue.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty Gear, like you'd have to like try to find somebody who played that story.
Yeah.
At least Xrd story. And Lord knows if you could actually understand a single goddamn thing that happened in that.
Well, and it's funny because like I guess we're describing this lens as like attachment to characters, right? Which you could theoretically get from any kind of narrative experience. But if you listen to what people tell you they want in fighting games, a lot of people who feel like they used to enjoy fighting games but no longer do, or they would enjoy fighting games if the circumstances or the game is right. A lot of what they ask for, frankly, is single player like content, right? Not just story mode, but story content as a way to get you to engage with the versus CPU stuff, right? And
yeah,
BlazBlue story mode. I haven't seen BlazBlue story mode. I've heard it described as VN stuff. Is there actual gameplay in there?
Like especially in the early chapters, there would be like fights every like while.
Yeah.
But I think in some of the laters, they may have even totally dropped fights. Maybe that's not entirely true because I know there's some like big boss fights. But like you're reading for a while.
Yeah.
In BlazBlue.
Yeah.
They weren't like. I think with this one it was a little bit more frequent, but like they were kind of like, oh, we're not going to be like, okay, it's time for like, people are going to say a couple of things. Oh, wait, we got to have a fight because this is like, they're like, wait a minute, we're not in arcade mode. We're just going to like a PC visual novel.
Yeah.
And like every 2 hours, there will be a fight.
Oh, shit.
Like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Like it was like really far between. So like, I think that
so like it certainly doesn't sound like the narrative content is like serving the player onboarding function at least.
Yeah, it's definitely not trying to like teach people how to play fighting games.
Yeah. Or even
but it is definitely.
I guess even like the StarCraft model, right, is you release a single player campaign and it like gets you acquainted with the units and stuff, but it's not trying to teach you shit, right?
Right.
But you're still spending most of your time playing the game. It sounds like in BlazBlue you are not spending most of your time playing the game.
Right, you're not spending most of your time playing the game. Like, I mean, I've said this a lot that I think there are ways that, like, you could... I'm not sure if necessarily the way to go... Clearly nobody has needed this before, though. Oh my god, yeah, shit. That's super a pain.
Let's do it again.
Great. There is a follow-up to it.
Oh, cool.
But, wait, how do you do it?
What you trying to do?
I want to do that.
The super?
Yeah.
It was just double fireball and D.
But, like, I feel like there are ways in which fighting game single player could teach you that the things that you do in fighting games are fun.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I think, like, I would say that's, like, maybe not necessarily teaching people how to play fighting games, not even teaching people how to deal with losing, but teaching people that that the stuff that is a lot of work in fighting games is cool and fun.
Yeah.
I think is the thing that fighting games actually have some problem teaching people. Maybe not that they're, like, there are people who think that they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see this so often. People are like, I wanted to do, like, I saw people do cool things in fighting games, and I wanted to do that too. And I think that that's like really significant. Like that's really important.
Yeah.
I think that lots of people look at that shit and they're like, oh, that's super cool. I could literally never do that.
Yeah.
Because it's cool, like even because it's cool,
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that.
Yes.
And that's not true, but it's very like it can be very difficult to like get people out of these attitudes where they think that like they're just not physically able to have fun playing
Right.
complex video games.
Yeah.
And like they are perfectly capable of it, but you need to teach them that they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other video game, like I've said this before, that like I've had friends get super into games that are extremely technical and complicated and that require a lot of like really sophisticated knowledge to do well with.
Right.
And they've learned it, and they've learned to have like fun doing it without even really realizing it.
Yeah.
And because fighting games kind of like give you like they don't necessarily show you like, oh hey, like actually like learning how to do like combos and trials and stuff could be really fun.
Right.
Like you could love to do this just on its own.
Yep.
I think like that's what I would like to see fighting game single player content kind of go in.
You know what actually?
I think it would actually be a
Go for
more
it.
fun video game than a lot of what single player stuff is.
Yep.
Not to say that they shouldn't have this story content, because I feel like that's actually
I was gonna say the single player that's always done it for me is stuff like Street Fighter Alpha 3 World Tour mode and actually the Smash World of Light. And I mean, a lot of it is just there's just basic stuff like, you know, you get to hit that unlocking motivation. There's some like power progression in terms of these like the upgrades you get, right? But the main thing that it is, each level is usually this like weirdly themed fight, right? It's an encounter that's not going to look like any actual match. And so you get to engage the like problem solving parts of your brain, right? Which is actually match relevant, right? Because when you go up against someone that you don't know how to play against, or when you go up against someone that's better than you, you're going to have to throw yourself at the wall a couple times and figure out like, hey, how do I beat this thing, right? And you're going to do it over and over and over. And that's not really the experience that you have in arcade mode so much.
I think Guilty Gear Xrd had like a story mode. Is that 2 rounds? I don't even know this. I was talking way too much.
All right, we're just gonna do new mirrors and mash buttons so we can talk easier.
No. Xrd had like a mode where like you went through like all of these nodes, and there were like enemies with like pre-programmed AI. They had like patterns and stuff like that. It was a really cool mode, but like I think their issue was like they disconnected it from story completely.
Right.
Like, or they made the story like its story integration kind of like tedious when it could have been really cool. Again, I'll say this a million times. I'll say this literally until someone hires me to do it. But, like, if you want a good, I think if you really want like a good story mode that's also a fighting game, single player content, you need to make it a Shonen Jump tournament arc.
Yep.
It's like so obvious. It's been there. It's staring everyone in the face. It would be like just the perfect way to do it. Like that plus pro wrestling.
Yep.
Like, and you would have everything you need. Like all of the narrative elements, like all of the drama, and it would be built into the fight.
Right.
But people are too insistent, I think, on like, oh, nice. Are on doing one or the other. That's the thing that bums me out.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, the original Mortal Kombat or even Street Fighter 2, like both of the story modes, the arcade modes, are this is a tournament, but it's never presented as a tournament, right?
Right, it's never presented as a tournament, and it's like, I don't know, like real life sports and MMA and like wrestling and stuff are constantly like injecting that drama into it. Like it would be so like you make the player is like the Ryu of the game, and it's like, I'm just starting out, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
You have like the cool sensei character who's like, you have to learn how to fucking block.
Mm-hmm.
And the character's like, I don't want to block, I just want to do special moves. And that's how you start to learn stuff.
Yep.
And like every character you defeat is like, in a Shonen Jump manga, every villain becomes your ally after like one fight.
That's what fighting does to people.
Tournament.
That's how fighting works.
Right, exactly. It makes friends out of people. Like, there's so much you could do about this to like kind of even encourage people to think about their real life experiences as part of the story mode as well. Like, again, I've talked about this with Christine. We have both talked about this. Oh my god, shit.
We should get Christine in one of these streams one day.
Please select your
Oh, we should. I'm sure she'd like that.
What should we
She's
play with
like...
So I've got to say, this BlazBlue is also reminding me of one of the foundational truths of making, oh my god, that was sick, making fighting games easier, which is when you make a fighting game easier for a new player to get into, you are also making it easier for existing players to get into. And so anytime a new player gets into this, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have that experience that other people get to have of being good at a fighting game by picking it up. You know, I feel great because I can do my thing, and then they're like, why is everyone still whooping my ass? And it's like, no, because you know, when you did this work, you kind of made it easier for everyone. And the people who already know fighting games are going to be able to get into it way easier than someone who doesn't.
Right, this is the problem, and I think this is in some ways it's the consistent Arx's problem.
Yeah.
Is that like, you know, if you want to call it a problem, like.
Oh my god, her blocking poses. I could not be bothered to try and guard any of those attacks high. I am not the kind of fighting game player who picks characters because they are super hot, but I would pick Lychee because she's super hot. Like, all the pandering they're doing, it is working. And then you told me that Arakune is her boyfriend. I'm like, wow, this sounds achievable. I might be able to outdo that.
Yeah, you could. All you need.
I also fuck with forbidden knowledge.
Yeah. If you smoke that forbidden knowledge, she'll have your back. So you should get more points the rarer the two things are. And the less common it is to see the two of them together.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. But I wonder if you could draw like lines of scarcity, essentially. Like, you know the iceberg meme?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, how deep do you go on this thing? Like, for any given combination, right? There has to be some degree of like iceberg layers you could apply, right? Where like Marvel and Pokemon, like you mix those two things together, well, they're the two of the most like popular entertainment IPs on Earth, right? But if you had like, and you know, Doctor Who's probably in there because it's like C tier or something. So you mix it with anything, that might be adding a flavor. But like, I don't know. I'm thinking like, what was it like trauma movies and like tokusatsu or something like that. Actually, those might be too close.
Right. It's actually a pretty good two things.
Yeah.
Have I ever told the story about how...
Wait, hold up. Sky just said Outlaw Star and Burn Notice. I would fuck with any USA Network show and any 90s anime free, but especially Burn Notice. Shout out to Burn Notice, because Burn Notice is underrated. Sandwich is gonna
Burn
have a field
Notice
day with
was
that
outside.
one.
What the fuck is burn notice?
All right, Starsky just hit me with Tenchi and Seinfeld.
That's actually pretty good too.
Ayaka, what's the deal with... There is a Mugen game out there that is Seinfeld Third Strike.
My God.
We may have to break that out one of these days.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. All right.
Seinfeld feels like a good match for Third Strike.
Right? Sandwich is just going to be going, like, throwing up his hands while figuring out what to do with this one. But that was the original BlazBlue. And I'll just leave this open for a sec while we wrap this up. It was definitely interesting to go through it and see, even from like a pretty novice perspective, like the difference between this game and Central Fiction. Like, Central Fiction just had so much more built on top of it, right? You could see the same DNA, of course, right? In the same way that, like, you know, when you go play XX or Guilty Gear X, you see like a similar a similar thread, right? It's you're building on top of things. But it was kind of neat to see this game, which again, like, turned me off when I first saw it. But to try and approach it from the lens of like, well, this is an earlier attempt by ArcSys to like make a more accessible fighting game. Like, it's certainly revealing into what their perspective was like on the barrier in like 2008, right? Which I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It really feels to me, and I think we noticed this in Central Fiction as well, that for them, the barrier that they were crossing or trying to cross was not necessarily about like total complexity or even like stuff like special move inputs necessarily. I really think it's just crossing the barrier from arcade to console. Being able to do stuff like explicit narrative and build characters around that a little bit more. Like, that feels like that was the thing that they were trying to use BlazBlue to kind of bring themselves across, right? Because ArcSys had forever been such an arcade-focused studio, right? And really, the model of fighting games in Japan was built around arcades and arcade engagement, arcade monetization. Console was largely like a second-class citizen. We were only getting like arcade perfect versions of fighting games, arcade perfect console ports in like, I think the first ones that I remember really were like CVS 2 and Marvel 2, because Dreamcast hardware was so similar to Naomi hardware. And it's basically the same shit. And then if you look at the generation of fighting games in like the early aughts, right? Fighting game developers weren't really developing with console in mind in the early aughts. Like, console was still very much an afterthought. It was something that you threw extra modes on that were kind of throwaway, that reused assets that you didn't put that much thought into. Like, BlazBlue to me feels like it was meant to be a proper console game for the console audience, because that was they're probably thinking like, oh, the hard part about getting into fighting games is rolling up to an arcade that smells like cigarette smoke, that's got a bunch of fucking old ass salarymen in here slamming 100 yen tokens in, or 100 yen coins in, right? That's the barrier you have to overcome. Which, right. Yeah, it's interesting.
And they definitely like came up with something that was like, and I could feel what they were what the person who recommended us play this was saying. Like, there was a lot of hit stop. Like, these characters are really chunky.
Yep.
It doesn't have quite the same like acceleration. There's not quite as many mechanics. Like, you have with this small cast, like, you've got like Hakumen and Tager and Bang and Noelle and Ragna and Jen. You have like a lot of like big chunky like characters that feel kind of simple-ish in their own ways. They've got like one button, like Noelle has like that with her drive button. She just does a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah,
you don't really have to like. It's almost like an auto combo button.
Mm-hmm.
But from the presentation side of things, like, yeah, they're like, we want to get you involved in this whole big long story. It's like made from the ground up to be a console-based experience. Like, the story mode, like again, I don't really know how like fully successful that was, but it definitely was like a big long thing that spawned a ton of spin-offs, and I think it probably still has quite a it still has like a fan following from of the people who played it. It certainly did make an impression on me, like despite how much I keep on like talking shit about it, and its presentation and its aesthetics and its nonsense and its stupid time travel. It really worked at like getting me attached to the characters and trying to find out what happened to them.
I mean, look, the reason we can talk shit about them is because one, like, we understand how this works professionally now in a way we both didn't 15 years ago. And two, like, we have the taste that goes along with it, right? But it worked on us for a reason, right? It's because that shit works. We live in a world where our attention spans are getting ruthlessly slashed to hell by like fucking memes and TikTok and whatever. And memes and TikTok are an expansion of, all kinds of other like trends in media consumption, right? Where it's about staying short, because if you keep it short, you're more likely to get more people like saturated with your shit, right? But on the flip side, you can make something deep for no reason other than you wanted to make a lot of it, right? Guilty Gear is arguably kind of there with its like combat design, where it's like they're not really being efficient, right? They're not trying to maximize the amount of like or the ratio of like things you have to learn to like combat possibilities or whatever. They're just like, well, we made some cool shit and then we had to release another game. So we had to give everyone some more cool shit. We did that 7 times and we ended up super overloaded on cool shit. And now if you like a character enough to play the game for 100 hours, that's okay. But there's actually thousands of hours that you can get out of this. And some people are just going to keep, like me, are just going to keep doing that. Right. And it's like, is the experience that I'm having I think my Steam excerpt is listed as 2,000 hours. Right? Is the experience that I'm having dramatically different or better than it was 1,000 hours in? Probably not. It's more like I'm better at the game. I have a little bit more fun with the game, but fundamentally I just like what I'm doing, so I'm here for it, right? But every additional hour is an additional sunken cost that I'm more attached to, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If you wrote Heaven Will Be Mine and each story took 6 hours to get through, fewer people would have finished it. Fewer people would have probably talked about it on the internet, right? It would have been less consumed and thus less easy to engage in discourse around. But everyone who did finish it, you would know that they fuck with your shit like mercilessly. Like you've got them by the fucking throat, right? Anything you make, they're here for because they sat through that. Right. And that's pretty powerful, especially for independent or like small team creators. Like that shit is powerful.
No, it's a definite like thing. I've thought about that with the success of like the When They Cry series for sure, or Fate even. Like it's pretty niche, and it takes a really long time to read, but it really gets the people who get it.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about this a little bit, but the kind of idea of like a fighting game that does that. Well, only kind of BlazBlue is kind of actually the best example of a fighting game that's kind of like tried to pull a Homestuck, if you will, if you'll forgive the comparison. And like I think maybe hours alone is a bad metric, but it's definitely like there's utility to it. There's utility to time itself, in some ways.
Yeah,
and I think that's worth talking about.
I think as a creator, yeah, I think about the time that someone is spending on something that I make as essentially like an indication of trust, right? Like they're willing to spend some X amount of time on this, so I want to make it worth it for them. And so I want to respect that time, and I respect that time by making sure that I'm not just like dragging on endlessly, but also like I've talked about this on stream before. I intentionally create all kinds of barriers in the stuff that I make, whether it's the writing, the videos, this stream itself, right? Like, one of the reasons why I don't take the Games with B series and tell Sandwich to cut these into 5-minute videos, right? With salacious YouTube titles that get people to click is because I know that I'm going to get fewer numbers if we release an hour-long video, but I know that whoever fucks with those videos is here for the good shit, right? This stream layout I made myself, and again, every now and then we get people coming through and being like, yo, your layout sucks, man. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I have the layout the way it is, one, because I love it and it's beautiful, shut the fuck up. But two, because if you click on this, and you see the thumbnail and you see this ugly ass layout and you're like, yo, I need to know what this is, you are more likely to stick around and you're more likely to fuck with me and the shit that I make, right?
I remember there was a guy who came into your stream and was like, dude, what is this?
Thank you,
everyone
Hoobie.
just shit on it.
Yeah, boo. Got the best wife up there. That's what's up. Anyway, I think unless you got any last words you want to drop on this BlazBlue, I feel like we're at a pretty good stopping point.
Yeah, I feel like this is the word on BlazBlue. I mean, yeah, I will say that I like that. I want to say I love your philosophy on that. There's definitely something to be said to working to curate your audience. I've been thinking about this a lot as a creator, from a lot of different angles, especially about like my own personal work.
Yeah.
And how to like really attract the audience that I want, rather than like how to get the most people. That's just trouble. Yeah. In this day and age. So I appreciate your words of wisdom on that topic.
I mean,
that's all I wanted to say.
As someone who has had to do different kinds of thinking around, let me put it this way. The first time that I ever blew up on Twitter, I posted an article that I worked on for a consumer tech publication on how to get internet access when your government shuts it down. And this was during I think it was in the middle of like I think Egypt had just cut off internet access, and it was a timely topic. And my job as the how-tos editor was to see how I could get my content, which tended to be like evergreen, like, Google search bait, how I could get traffic on it from Google News, right? So you try and fish for headlines, right? Oh shit, something's happening in the world. Is there a technology angle? If so, figure out how to turn that technology angle into a how-to article. What that did was it got me my first 900 Twitter followers, who were mostly like proto-alt-right survivalist nuts. and in this moment, I was like, oh shit. One, I don't think they're going to stick around for very long. But two, you have to be careful with what you put out there, because if people like it, they might follow you around expecting more. So if you put out stuff that attracts people you don't like, you are going to be cursed. You're going to be haunted by not liking the people who like the shit you make, right? Which is why I only make stuff that is generally polarizing in some form, whether it's length, whether it's aesthetic, whether it's tone of voice, whether it's topic, because it means that only the people who I give a shit about will come through. And we got 62 of y'all in chat, so what's up? Thank you so much for coming through and checking out the stream. Aevee, you got anything to plug today?
Not really. I mean, well, follow my stream.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/MammonMachineZeal, right?
Follow Mammon Machine Zeal. Follow Future Club on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you know any good programmers, send them our way.
Hey.
Future Club is hiring a programmer. Yeah.
Cool.
That's about all I got.
Hell yeah. Well, we've played Central Fiction. We've played Calamity Trigger. I think next up has got to be BB Tag. We got to give that a shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've been talking about that. Yeah. Let's play some BB Tag.
Yeah, we're gonna play some BB Tag. All right. We're gonna call it for tonight. Thank you so much for coming. We will be back with more Guilty Gear, etc.
Is your game still loading?
Thanks for liking We Know the Devil.
Yeah, shouts to We Know the Devil. Go cop that shit if you haven't already. So Monday and Tuesday, we're doing Rev 2 lobbies. Also, Aevee, I don't know if you're ever streaming on Tuesdays, but if you want to come through for Street Beefs, it's fun as hell. We play side bets on amateur MMA. It's like Salty Bet, but with humans.
Oh, man, I might come in for that.
Hell yeah. It starts
Usually
at 10.
Tuesdays are my day off. It starts at 10. Okay, I can probably make that.
Yeah. It's all in chat. You don't have to get on stream or anything. Just hang out, watch some videos. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Wednesday is Wednesday night fights, and then Thursday we're gonna play BB tag with the homie, the eternal homie Aevee Bee. So that's what's up. Until next week, love your life, be good to one another, and play some motherfucking BlazBlue if you're not gonna play Guilty Gear. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for coming through. Mwah.
Good night.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。